Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining. We're giving everyone a moment to join from the waiting room. Thank you for joining. We can go to the next slide. This is Sabrina Paganoni, and I'm here from the Healy Center for ALS at Mass General. I'm here with Catherine Small, our patient navigator, and Jesse Rosenthal, our administrative assistant. And as always, we are here on a weekly basis to provide you with research news about the HEALEY ALS Platform Trial. You can go to the next slide. As you know, we are using this common infrastructure to gain operational and scientific efficiencies. So far, we have tested 7 drugs as part of this trial using the same central governance structure. Next slide. Every trial, every regimen is assessed sort of in the same way by comparing people who are participating on active drug comparing to placebo, and we take a lot of measurements ranging from DNA to multiple biomarkers to clinically relevant outcomes like function, respiratory function, muscle function, and here we have highlighted biomarkers because we want to spend a few minutes to talk about how the platform trial is also contributing to this incredibly important effort, which is to contribute new biomarker and new knowledge to the field of ALS. We're going to be inviting a few speakers to tell us more about biomarkers over the next few weeks, and so we wanted to sort of introduce the topic today. Next slide. So we do have a lot of information about biomarkers on our website, and this is one of our brochures. And we want to share how participation in the platform trial makes a difference in many different ways, including innovation through biomarkers. And again, we're going to invite speakers to talk about some biomarkers over the next few weeks. But as an intro, you may want to download and check out this brochure. I know Catherine has put the link on the chat and in the chat, and then our website that you can find either by visiting the link on the slide, or the QR code allows you to see the brochure and also post it on our website and share it. Post it on our social media and share it with anyone who may be interested. Next slide. We have completed enrollment in regimens F and G. So obviously the primary goal of the trial is to test the safety and efficacy of the drugs. But again, biomarker research goes on in the background because we have this shared infrastructure that allows us to look and evaluate new biomarkers as we continue to test new drugs. So there's sort of 2 work streams going on in the platform trial. One is obviously the most important, which is getting new drugs to the market as soon as possible. But there's also a very important scientific line of work that's going on in the background because every participant contributes to biomarker research by providing plasma, serum, other contributions, other data that are then used for biomarker research. Now, we are working on a number of publications. I do want to mention that we have a few that are under review, and some of the new ones that we are drafting right now for the next round have to do with biomarkers. So that's why I think we want to really emphasize the importance of biomarkers, and then you'll be able to see kind of the results once the paper are published. Next slide. If you are interested also in other clinical trials, obviously there's other clinical trials that are ongoing in ALS. I know we're not enrolling new participants in the platform trial for the time being. So if you're interested in enrolling now, there are different resources listed on the slide here for other clinical trials. I do want to mention that we have a number of other regimen partners that we are contracting with, and so we hope to resume enrolling as soon as possible in the platform trial itself. Next slide. So we continue to talk with the community to understand what they're interested in learning about. And so there's this new article that we just published on the website of Mass General Brigham that sort of summarizes the kind of our current thinking about ALS research and a few of our other initiatives. So if you want to have kind of a sort of a quick update and summary of our research and things that we're doing in partnership with many other institutions and collaborators, feel free to check this article here. You can see the QR code and the link. Next slide. Also, we have other opportunities to communicate emerging research findings. I'm very happy that to announce the registration for our annual meeting at the NEALS Consortium that we partner with as a platform trial has actually opened. It just opened a few days ago, so we wanted to make sure that everyone is aware. And so this is the QR code and link to the meeting. There's a number of sessions that are open to people with lived ALS experience. That's a virtual option. And so if you want to follow, I know we oftentimes, summarize the results of those discussions on this webinar, but if you actually want to follow them live, feel free to go on this website and register. It's really great to see that there's a lot more options and opportunities for people living with ALS to learn about the disease and about breaking news and exciting research. So NEALS is definitely a highlight of that. And so, I would recommend, checking out the virtual option here for the NEALS meeting. That's going to be in October. And actually, Catherine, maybe for next week, we could also include the one for ALS1, which is another fantastic virtual option that people can access from everywhere, thanks to the great efforts of Jen DiMartino and her team. And then also in December, there's the International M&D Symposium. So I think a great cadence there in the fall going into winter in terms of virtual platforms that are available for people living with ALS to get all the latest. We often present at all of those meetings, but obviously in addition to us, there's many other people who are presenting, and it's wonderful to be able to, now with the use of virtual options and platforms, people can get to know the researchers and learn about the exciting results in real time. So really exciting news there. Next slide. And we do also have a number of webinars that are recorded. Some are upcoming, but the previous ones have been recorded and posted on our NEALS website. So a plug here for Access for All in ALS, or the All ALS Consortium. This is a webinar that's recent and explains this other exciting biomarker initiative that's about to start enrolling. So I would want to share that there's lots of opportunities for contributing to research and joining research for people living with ALS, and trials are one option, but also these large consortia and academic studies. This one in particular is funded by the NIH. It has very ambitious and important goals that will really accelerate drug development for ALS by providing new biomarkers. Those are all options that are either ongoing right now or coming up soon, and all options to participate in research. Next slide. And the NEALS website also has a number of other educational webinars that are recorded. Recently we had different webinars for the drugs that are FDA approved, and now coming up we have a webinar for promising alternative and off-label treatments for ALS. So another important webinar for people who have questions about this topic. Next slide. And last but not least, we are also revamping our expanded access pages. And so this is the page that now contains a lot of information about how to navigate expanded access to investigational products. This was revised in collaboration with our amazing patient advisory committee. So I hope you'll find the information helpful and easy to access. So send us feedback, and we will continue to update this particular page on our website. Next slide. And we're very happy that we are actually enrolling in the NIH-funded EAPs for Pridopidine and RAPA. So feel free to connect with our center and your center. Your physicians will be able to tell you if they participate in any of these. There are also other EAPs that are funded by the NIH at other institutions, managed by other institutions. So wonderful to have this variety of options now. Compared to just a few years ago when no EAP essentially existed. So I think you can really see the momentum and the progress there. Next slide. Last but not least, we want to remind you that Catherine is always available to talk to you outside of this webinar. So thank you, Catherine, for taking calls and emails. You can continue to register for the weekly webinar. And if you want to receive news from our center directly, you can sign up for the ALS link, which is our newsletter. Now, next week, we will talk about biomarkers. As I mentioned earlier, there are different initiatives. One is the All ALS Consortium funded by the NIH that's not connected to a trial. But our center participates not only in that, but also participates in a number of biomarker research efforts. And the platform trial itself is a way to develop new biomarkers. And I think this is really going to be the key for finding treatments for ALS. And so, we'll have a good discussion with Dr. Bowser, who is really a leader in the field of biomarker research next week. We are traveling to a conference the following week. So we have an in-person get-together in Denver for all the sites that are participating in the platform trial. So we will be there in Denver, and so we'll cancel on June 6th. But then we'll come back, and maybe next time we can also share our summer series schedule and plans, since we are going to be changing the schedule a little bit just to allow for travel and other conferences, and also in recognition of the different venues now for receiving information about ALS. We're trying to kind of tailoring the weekly webinars to what's most interesting for people living with ALS based on your feedback. So if you have any suggestions in terms of content, cadence, speakers, etc., it would be great to hear from you so that we can plan our summer series accordingly. So thank you for that. And now I think we're going to take a few questions. So that's a good question, which is also a reminder that many new people join this webinar or watch the recording every week. People who were just diagnosed. So somebody said, I was just diagnosed a few weeks ago. What trials are available? So thank you for that. We know that there's a number of people who have been following us for several weeks or months or years even, but there's always new people. So thank you for joining. And I think it's important that we continue to share information about available trials. So the slide that I showed earlier, and maybe if you don't mind, Jesse, going back to the list of trial opportunities, I think that's very important. We and others are sharing information about available trials. And you can also download the slides after the meeting once they're posted on our website. But essentially, we had a slide at the beginning of the presentation where there was, like a list of other organizations. For example, IMALS or ALS-TDI. I can see the slide here. Perfect. This is great. You can follow these links and go to different trial navigator options. I would say the ALS-TDI trial navigator, which is the most recent, is incredibly easy to navigate, and you can find trials near you, as well as the ALS Signal from IMALS. That's another great patient-centered website to check out. They will give you a list of trials that are available by location, which is also important. So I can tell you that there's a few trials that are open right now across the country, but it really depends on your location and the characteristics. So, by checking these websites, you have an idea whether you are eligible or not and where the centers are. So there's another question from someone who says, that you receive care at a certain center and the center is not participating in the Pridopidine EAP. Yeah, so centers can make different decisions about which programs to participate in, whether it's trials or expanded access. For the Pridopidine EAP, we have a total of 45 sites that are participating in an EAP, in this particular EAP. So it's possible that your site may be participating in a different EAP, so you can ask that if there's a a different one. If not, if no EAPs are available, you can go on our website and check out the resources there that will take you to web pages that show essentially where the EAP is available. And so hopefully you can, engage with one of those sites. Again, I would suggest that you start with your physician, ask if any other EAP is available. If not, you can go on our website and contact Catherine, our patient navigator, for, if you have any questions about which sites may be close to you and may be participating. So there's another question that's more clinical. It's more about, is there any correlation between problems in the spine, so for example, spinal stenosis or other spine problems, and ALS symptoms? So I would say, first of all, as always, important to discuss with your physician because everyone is different and has a different clinical picture. I would say that, the two, spine disease and ALS, are completely independent. However, spine disease is a very, very common condition. And so if somebody happens to have both spine disease and ALS, it's possible that depending on what type of spine disease one has and how severe it is possible that those symptoms may compound or make it things even harder. For example, there's sciatica, which is a symptom of spine disease, is not a symptom of ALS. But if somebody has ALS and on top of that also has sciatica, then the leg may really have a number of problems, both muscle weakness and pain. So it's important to get spine disease treated. There are some, sometimes there are some possibilities for intervention, whether it's physical therapy or some modalities like heat or ultrasound or even injections in some cases. I think it's important to make sure that we can treat the things that can aggravate symptoms if they are treatable. So always talk to your physician. I hope this is helpful. So, Catherine, I know you have received a few questions from the community over the last week. So anything that you want to share?
I would just say, in terms of helpful tips and tricks on communication, for anybody who is a participant in the platform trial and is actively being followed by a study team at a local site, your study team is going to be the best point of contact for any questions that you have while participating in the trial. I'm certainly happy to be a resource, but if you're already in touch with the study team, they can help provide you with guidance, and they know the ins and outs of, your full background and history. And then for people like some of the people who typed in the chat today, if you're newly diagnosed or new to approaching research conversations, I'm happy to share resources and links. Even if I can't, help set up a screening visit for the platform trial right now, we can still have a conversation about resource sharing and where to look in the meantime. So happy to be a resource for those people too.
Well said. Thank you. Thank you so much, Catherine. Great. I think we took all the questions. I think I love it that, with there's so many opportunities now to ask questions, and, many people have come back and asked questions over time. So hopefully, the new resources, the new websites, the new webinar series help kind of provide some clarity. And I see here a message about how can people contact you, Catherine?
Yes, so I'll put it in the chat again, but it's HEALEY ALS Platform at mgh.harvard.edu. So I'll put that in the chat again.
Thank you. And if you need, you can always go on our website.
True, they post me everywhere.
Thank you. All right. Thank you so much. I think this was great to meet with all of you, and especially have new audience members. Thank you for joining, and we'll see you back next week for a discussion on biomarkers. Thank you so much. Thank you.